Oh, it's like starting out the show with the double pump, Trump, shuffle, whatever. Anyways, what's up, heathens? How y'all doing? I'm the Godless Engineer. I'm here with Aaron Adair. We're on SkepTalk. I know that this past Saturday I said that I wasn't going to be on, but haha, pulled one on you. I'm here. What's up there, Aaron? How you doing?
Doing okay, doing okay. Taking care of some holiday stuff, taking care of a needy little kitty right here.
I see. Yeah, cats are always a joy. Well, sometimes they're a joy, sometimes they're a pest. Excuse me. I'm assuming that your cat there is not a pest.
He can be if he wants to. Let's just say this much. He's given me a few good scratches and bites over the years. So I also have to be a bit careful when I lift him up, trying to show him into the camera, because I remember one time I was doing that, and he just bit into me and grabbed on with all his might and was literally hanging from my arm with his bite. And
Wow.
yeah, that was both painful, and if you've been bitten by a cat, you also know, oh, it's super infectious. You pretty much need to go and get emergency care because you're almost certainly infected.
Damn. No, I've never been bitten by a cat like that before. But I mean, I guess I've been more of a dog person myself. Not that I have anything against cats. But I've just never really had them that much.
Yeah, I didn't have cats growing up, but when I met my wife, she had a cat, and then started having cats living with us, and been happy with the choice.
Cool. All right. Well, just letting everybody know in the that's watching right now, the number is 720-619-2288. All lines are open. If you would like to call in and talk to, well, I'm an engineer, and Aaron is has a much better degree, a doctorate. He's Dr. Aaron Adair, and he can talk to you about a whole bunch of crazy shit. I just read a lot, and I have an engineering mindset. So that's about it for me. I know, Aaron. Recently, you were on Seth Andrews, his podcast, talking about the Bethlehem Star, right?
Yes, yes. Yeah, because it's that time of year, I need to be plugging my book on the subject that I published about 12 years ago, The Star of Bethlehem, A Skeptical View. What's that all about? There have been centuries of attempts to try to explain this star as something completely natural and astronomical, and it gives you a twofer. One is that you can't disbelieve the story because it's a miracle, and two, then you could calculate the exact birth date of Jesus if you do the astronomy right. So it's like, ooh, exciting. And then you look at the text and you realize, well, this is actually a bunch of hooey if you can actually read the underlying language. And it's basically been 200 years of denying what the text says in order to tell us what the text really says. Most Bible scholars don't do this. The astronomers who do this are doing it largely out of ignorance of biblical studies and the underlying Greek language. And even a lot of the people who will push it this time of year don't believe it themselves, but it puts butts in seats at the planetarium. So it's kind of a deal with it. We can teach some astronomy with it. So it's a bit of a Faustian bargain doing that.
Yeah. I know our local here in Huntsville, we've got the Space and Rocket Center. And there's actually it was an IMAX theater. I guess it technically still is an IMAX theater, but they use it as a planetarium sometimes. And they actually had one of those kind of shows where it talked about not necessarily the Bethlehem Star, but just I guess in general, just a bunch of the astronomical stuff circling around this time of year. Like we went a couple years ago. Oh, there was one about the Bethlehem Star? Oh, okay, wait, that is the one that we saw. Okay, so we did see one about the Bethlehem Star. So we've actually seen one of those.
Yeah. Well, heck, I used to present those sorts of shows. When I was doing my undergraduate at Michigan State, freshman year, I was able to get a job at the local planetarium, and I was a show presenter for several years. So come Christmas time, I was the one presenting the Christmas Star show. And as I was telling in the stories of this, at that time, I used to be a believer. I called myself a Catholic deist. So the idea that God would use the laws of nature to enact out the story that he wants for his son made perfect sense to me. This is how the master of the universe would do things rather than coming in and fuddling with the gears on the perfect machine he built. That's why miracles don't make sense on a Newtonian worldview with that sort of setup. But eventually I started, asking some other hard questions, and also realized that show that we were presenting at the planetarium, it's not the same show you'll see at other planetariums. It's not what you'll see on TV. Oh, also the history that it tries to propose for when things happen is super fringe, because it has to literally redate events of the Bible, like when Herod died and things like that, just to make the story not have to be thrown out instantly. So there's a reason I had to write a whole book about this.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a very interesting topic. And, I feel like a lot of people, they don't take the time, at least to initially critically think about how ridiculous it is to like pinpoint a location on the face of the earth just by like where a certain star is in the sky, as if that star is directly positioned above it. But even if it were, well, could you really tell that from the surface of the earth? I mean, I think that's an interesting question that people don't really think about.
Yeah. You definitely wouldn't be doing that with eyesight or even with a decent sextant. You're not going to be that exact to tell which house is trying to point out when it's just high up in the sky. From your eye, you couldn't tell it's any more over Bethlehem than Jerusalem. So, yeah, the chances you're going to pick out the right house is pretty low, and more likely you're going to end up the scene from Monty Python: The Life of Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you've seen the film.
I have.
Okay, all right. I just want to make sure you're not going to blaspheme in that way. But in the opening, where the wise men come to the wrong nativity set, because if you don't have that sort of guidance, the first person who says, "Oh, you're bringing gold," yes, it's definitely my son. That's the Messiah.
The Life of Brian. I remember watching that when I was much younger, much younger, and it was. I think it was definitely before I deconverted, but like I was never really one of those, I guess, prudish kind of believers where I was offended by the whole idea. Like I thought it was hilarious, like the entire thing. So yeah, I was never really a prudish kind of believer, but yeah, I thought that movie was funny all the way through. But I do want to let everybody know that tonight we are addressing super chats. So any super chat, $5 and above, we are going to be addressing, and it will not grate on my nerves whatsoever if you made a number of those super chats about Guy Fieri. Because we are, KC and I are going on this free thought cruise thing, and I swear to Christ, if they don't have Guy Fieri themed shit there. Oh, that's the Black Non-Believers one. One of the cruises that we're going on next year apparently has Guy Fieri stuff all over it. I got, for people that don't know, I got invited to speak at the Black Non-Believers CCon. And so I'm going to be speaking there at the end of next year. So I'm pretty excited about that.
I have to say I'm jealous. I've never been on a cruise.
Oh, really? Cruises can
Really?
be fun as long as you get the drink package. Get the drink package, because then you get, not just for alcohol reasons, but just if you want, any kind of drinks while you're there without having to pay every single time, that would help. But anyways, we do have some calls that are queued up. Are you ready to take the first one? We don't have a theist yet, so theists, call in. But are you ready to take our first call there, Aaron?
Yes, but one last thing we should probably note. This is the last SkepTalk of the year.
Yeah. So make your super chats count by sending in super chats. I don't know if you're going that direction.
We got to make everything count. So whatever you were going to give, twice as much, because we got to end the year well.
Yeah,
also, the mug brawl is going to be over soon.
I got a mug. You got to choose mine.
Yeah, I've got my mug right here. It's the heathen mug, so definitely go buy mine. Oh, do we get anything for getting the most?
Whoever sells the most gets to keep their one in the store for the rest of the year, and, I think what's gonna happen is we're gonna go down to, like, the top 3 winners for the rest of the month of January, so, like, only a couple days left to get any of the ones that are, like, not selling as hot, and then, you're gonna gradually lose access to them until they all go away.
Okay.
Well,
I guarantee you mine's not going to get up in the top 3. So definitely go and get your heathen mug if you want to get one of those, because it probably won't be in the top 3. So this is your only chance to get it. He says, hoping people will buy it and it'll stay up there.
And of course, I gotta push my merch because I have the best mug because it's both a math joke and a literature joke all in one mug.
Oh, is it? What is it?
Can we bring up the image of the mugs again? Because I don't have mine close by to show.
This doesn't show yours. It's a screenshot. It's of the top 4.
All right. So if you look on the store, which you should all be going to right now, so you can order 10 mugs, you'll find mine, and you're going to see the Hebrew letter Aleph, and then with a little circle at the bottom, and then the word jest underneath. That's Aleph Null, the character for the infinite set, so it means infinite jest.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I was like, that's Aleph.
Yes. We got one letter of Hebrew down. You got a few more letters to learn, John. A few more letters.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I've actually been trying to get back into my Dr. Joshua Bowen Hebrew class. Not that I have trouble getting into it. I'm trying to get back on it so that I can learn it. I'm still like memorizing the alphabet and everything like that. I understand the basic rules of it, but So while we were talking, we actually did get a theist that screened through. Are you ready to take our first theist on?
Let's go.
All right. So we've got Marlon on the line. What's up there, Marlon? How you doing?
Sir, hello, John. And what is your name, the other host?
My name is Aaron.
Eris?
Aaron.
Aaron.
Aaron. Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. So basically, John and Aaron, I would like to have the discussion with the host that I think Christianity is beneficial to society, like how good people within them can help homeless people get jobs and feed the poor and things like that, and how religion is important for like positivity and moral to the people. Like basically continuing that discussion that I had with John the last time that I called. What are your thoughts on it, John?
I'll let Aaron give his thoughts on the on how Christianity is beneficial to society, because I know that I've already kind of interacted with this. So, Aaron, what do you think?
Well, to make that claim and make it actually valid, you would have to show people with Christianity would be more moral, more helpful than those without. And the thing is, I see the evidence not in favor of that. In fact, in many ways, quite the opposite. And the best way of showing that is if you hop over to Europe, which has many countries that are much more secular than the US, but has much more to support people who are sick or are homeless or are in need. So if a more secular society can provide the needs of people as well or better, that doesn't really show to me that Christianity is responsible for that. It's also worth noting charity has existed outside of Europe. It has existed outside of Christianity for millennia. It's not like for thousands of years everyone was bonking each other on the head. Jesus came along and then people realized, you know what, maybe we should actually be slightly more helpful. Charity and helpfulness, forgiveness of debts, helping out the homeless, feeding the poor, this is something that people have been doing for each other for millennia. We probably wouldn't even exist as a species if we weren't helping each other out in our history. So not only do I see no evidence for that, but I see better ways of providing for those in need than the hope for charity that Christianity allegedly provides.
Okay, I got it. I would like to point out that the fact that yes, that Christianity and Christians within it do feed a lot of people and help them out. There's a YouTube channel called Crew Kali, and this is a Christian guy who feeds the people every week. He cooks for his homeless community, and
So,
I think
Marlon,
it's not just about feeding the homeless. We need to get them jobs too, right? And for that to
Marlon,
happen, we need to get the connections within the Christian religion. Yes,
Marlon,
yes,
Marlon. I
yes.
feel like you're tacitly admitting that they would not be helping people if it were not for the guilt laid upon them by religion. Is that what you're trying to say?
Well, they need to be get into the church and introduced to the Christian leaders and pastors and learn about the
So,
Bible and
okay,
be baptized.
Marlon, I feel like you're not answering my question. Marlon,
Yes,
you're not answering my question.
yes.
Are you admitting that these people that you're talking about, they would not naturally help homeless people if it were not for the guilt laid upon them by the church? Is that what you're saying?
What do you mean by the guilt upon them laid upon by the church? Can you please elaborate on that?
Sure. So, I mean, the guilt is like one of the main aspects of the Christian religion, basically shaming you for Jesus's death, even though you didn't ask for Jesus to die for you or anything like that. But basically laying this guilt upon you that, we're sinful creatures. I'm assuming that you believe in original sin because that's kind of a major part of a lot of
Yeah, yeah.
different denominations of Christianity. Yeah, so I mean, basically, they're having to shame and guilt you into this idealized version of your savior. And I feel the argument that you're making here is that Christianity drives this benefit to society through the guilt that's laid upon people. So people wouldn't just naturally help other people, they have to be guilted into doing it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yes, it's a part of that, but it has good intentions within them. Like it has within them. Like it's
So
saying
Marlon, how do
everybody
you
is sinful.
explain?
It's correct, right? Nobody is perfect,
Well,
you know.
no,
Like
no, no, no.
everybody has
No.
done some wrong
So
things.
sin,
Yes,
Marlon, sin is a
yes,
religious idea, right? Sin is just transgressing what God wants, and God wants a whole bunch of horrible shit. Like God wanted Moses to unalive all of the. Sorry, God wanted Moses to kill all of the small children, all the small boys, all of the non-virgin women, and only take the pubescent virgin girls to force into sexual slavery. So I really don't think that you want to appeal to sin here because it would have been sinful to not do that, right? But I would consider that a pretty bad thing to do. I would hope that you would consider forcing small girls into sexual slavery to be a bad thing to do. So I don't think that we
but
should be
that's
appealing to
immoral.
sin
That's
here,
immoral. I
right? If it's
that's
immoral, why did
immoral.
God?
I
If
agree with you.
Okay, why did God
I,
call upon Moses to do that then?
well, I'm sorry if I'm going to be telling you guys the truth that I don't know everything about the Bible. I've been taught about the positive things about the Bible, the positive teachings. I don't know that that horrible thing happened, that massacre happened. Though I did know about the cursed nights in Egypt, like when God killed all the babies in Egypt. It's
Right.
been
So
taught into me that
why would you?
it's been taught to
I
us
mean,
that
but why would you?
God is all powerful, that we should that we should follow Him because He has all the power. That's what been taught to me in the Catholic school, like by the nuns.
Marlon?
like a priest.
There's something you said there that I'm a
Yes,
little concerned
yes.
about. You said because God is all powerful. Are you saying might makes right?
That's what's been taught to me, because it's what's been taught to us. I've studied elementary and kindergarten and high school in a Catholic school, and by that time I was even questioning that, and I would be honest, I'm even questioning that a bit now.
Okay.
It was
Just because,
said
like I say, it's
according to the Bible that, yes.
yeah, like I say, it's just concerning because I think one of the things we actually learn intuitively that no, might doesn't make right. Might allows people to do what they want, and people might want to do things that are terrible. Let's put it this way. Right now, the most powerful person in the world is doing things that I definitely don't think are right. And just because he has access to the most powerful military humans have ever created, I don't think makes him any more right. Quite the opposite. I'm more frightened that that person is running, steering the ship, so to speak. There is a big difference between strength and righteousness, and we figure out what's right by very different means rather than I told you what you're going to do, and if you don't do what I tell you to do, I'm going to hit you harder than you've ever been hit. That is the opposite of morality. That is just fear and being obsequious out of the attempt to not be smited. And I think your morality is better than that. I think most people's morality is better than that. And Christianity has not helped us make a better morality because it's still ultimately built on that ultimate stick, do what I tell you or have infinite punishment.
Yes, I've even tried to question that when I was a kid, and I was hit on the hands by the nun, the principal nun, and the nun, she was like, "How dare you question God? How dare you question His will? It's a thing in Catholic schools, and
Is that
it's still being
yeah?
brought
But
up.
Marlon,
Yeah, I agree with you guys
Marlon,
on that. Yes,
Marlon.
yes.
I mean, you just revealed to us that you suffered some trauma, at the hands of Catholic nuns in the school that you went to, but you still maintain that Christianity is beneficial when they obviously abuse people. There's the track record of abuse of the Catholic Church as well as Christianity just in general. So where's the benefit other than you think that people need to be guilt and shamed into helping other individuals?
I was talking about the fact that I have Christian friends, and they are kind, polite, and respectful people, and that if there are more people like them, then we can help the homeless get fed and get jobs. But those homeless people need to be brought into the church, and be taught their teaching by the pastor. And like right now,
Okay,
I'm with the Bible
Marlon.
Baptist pastor. Yeah, yes.
Marlon, I think that you need to work on differentiating between religious people that help and atheists or non-religious people that help, because I've been to several of our conferences, like in the non-religious sphere, where at every single conference, just about, there's some kind of like activity that we do in order to like benefit the local community. Like I would go to Free Flow down in Florida, here in the United States, and we would actually package up like food kits for the local
Could you guys
unhoused
help them
population.
get jobs?
And
Like, I was,
okay. Well,
I was,
Marlon, I'm
yes,
talking about one particular example here that we help package up
yes,
food packages for people that need it, for a food pantry, right? And so I have a feeling that it doesn't take trauma in order, like traumatizing somebody in order to get them to help their fellow person. I think that that is something that is culturally pushed, and that we can do better at culturally pushing, helping our fellow man. I know I was brought up with Christian parents who didn't want me to help out people, or to, volunteer my time or whatnot. So it kind of goes directly opposite to your whole thesis here, that Christianity, somehow engages this very humanitarian aspect of people's lives, when there are definitely Christians out there that do not do that. So unless you're calling in to complain about how Christians are not doing the thing that you want them to do, actually, I think that would be what you would call in for, and we really don't we don't disagree with you on that particular point. So there's no real point in you calling in.
It's a part of that. It's a part of that. I think that Christians out there should do better, and be better, and to help benefit society and the people, and to help each other. So I was curious. Do the humanists help people get jobs? Like, can you guys like organize like job fairs for the homeless, or to help them out? I'm curious about that. Help them get to work,
regardless of my volunteer effort, which I have volunteered my time in various aspects, I haven't volunteered directly in that particular sense. If you feel like that is something that's very important to do, you should volunteer your time, not because Jesus has guilted you into helping your fellow man, but because it would make you feel good to help another person out. That's what you need to do. Is if you see that need, then you need to fulfill that need. Don't go around shaming other people for not doing, something to help homeless people get jobs. If you want to do that, you go out and do that.
Yes. What about you, Aaron? What are your thoughts on this so far?
I think I'm largely in alignment with John. I will note that I don't know what the employment situation or how employment works in the Philippines versus the US, but here in the US, we do have social workers that try to help if you are in some sort of unemployment situation. If you go and you're on unemployment insurance, that they have trainings that are available to you so you can try to get new jobs. And perhaps most importantly, the way you usually find a new job is dependent on who you know. So much of it is about networks. And churches can help there because it's a network of people.
I made earlier, network of people, like in the church. Like my pastor over here in the Philippines helps the homeless kids to get education and pay for school, and he helps homeless families get a job. Yes, we agree on that. It's a network of people. That's why I said earlier.
And I would say a lot of that is not even because of
homeless.
The thing, though, is I don't see that as a matter of religion. That's a matter of having social networks. And churches are one form of social network. There are community centers. There are all sorts of ways that you can organize groups together and try to do good for each other. It doesn't have to be done in the context of a Christian church or any religion for that matter. People are pretty good at coming together, and if we do more of that, we probably solve more of our problems, and we don't necessarily need to bring in the supernatural to make that a good idea.
And for me, it's like teaching them the Bible is good because the Bible has good things in it, to right? The Bible teaches, it says, love thy neighbor as you love thyself. It says to love your enemies, to feed the hungry, give drink to the thirsty, comfort the ones in prison. So it's already talking about prison reform. It says, blessed are the poor, blessed are the needy, the Beatitudes, the Ten Commandments. It says, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not commit adultery, which is protecting women and children, because it is, God is against non-consensual sex,
Well, the
it
thing
talks
is that
about
doesn't necessarily
it
protect
talks
women in the
about
biblical context. We could be citing verses about when a woman is SA'd or R'd in a city that she is actually put to death because people didn't hear her scream loud enough. But more besides the point, there have been laws, regulations, and stories about being good to the poor, of taking care of the needy, that stealing is bad, that murder is bad. We have that in our oldest literature. The Bible isn't special in that regard. We could be pulling out the Confucian analects and reading that to people and trying to then instill moral virtues, but that may not just be the sort of cultural thing that works as well in the Philippines, especially with the current political climate between China and the Philippines. But nonetheless,
basically, and
there's
you
lots of good
want to
books out
make
there. We
people
don't need the Bible for
feel
it.
better, Oh, yes. Want to make people feel better, because, like the Bible says, like,
But is it true?
Jesus
The
says,
problem
do
is
good and you
the
will
book
be
also claims a lot
rewarded.
of things that are. Well, the thing is, the Bible also allows lots of stuff in there that is not true and that is not good. My thought is, how about we either share the stories that are good and are true and leave out the ones that are bad and that are false? Wouldn't that be even better?
Yes, yes. I agree with you on that. I agree. But let's say if it's taking homeless people to be baptized into the Christian religion and be part of like the Baptist sect, then it's good to have them indoctrinated, right? For their own good,
No,
to have a better life for them. They need to be
no,
Are
baptized
you
no.
talking
in
How does
about
order
that?
to get the benefits of being in a church family. Like,
two
Sorry,
things very
you go
quickly
ahead.
there? Yeah, two things very quickly.
yes,
One, as I've mentioned before, all the benefits that you claim Christianity has, non-Christianity, non-religion also has equally well or better. And two, the idea of indoctrinating means you basically have to control people. You have to be patronizing, you have to be infantilizing, and that is not going to lead to social growth or even spiritual growth if you are going to feed people things you know are not true so you can try to control them. That
we
is
have good
basically politics by
intentions.
other means.
Like,
There's a.
even
I
though
don't
we
know if
say
this.
we only have good
Are you familiar with
intentions, and like we only
Marlon? Are you
wanted them
familiar with the
to
phrase?
teach to be good people. Yes,
Marlon, are you familiar with
what
the
phrase?
phrase? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
What does that mean? I'm sorry.
That
What does that
many
mean?
people have
Road to
had.
hell.
Many people have had good intentions and then end up leading to terrible consequences.
Okay. Good intentions can lead to terrible consequences. Basically, right?
Yes. And in the moment, you'll
Ah,
justify some sort of thing, thinking it's the best thing to do right now, but then it leads to one thing after another, and then tragedy or worse things can happen. It's usually small steps, small justifications for why you're going to break this rule at this one time, tell this little lie at this time, and it really becomes hard to control. And also, if people then lose trust in you because you have actively lied to them, well, there goes your nice society. It's going to fracture pretty well.
like what about like the importance of forgiveness? Are you guys saying that the Bible isn't the first one that has like taught us that lesson about like forgiveness? With I was taught in Catholic school that Jesus
Marlon,
Christ was
Marlon,
the greatest
Marlon,
person who ever lived and the
Marlon,
kindest
Marlon.
person. Yes,
God damn it,
yes,
Marlon, fuck, Marlon.
yes.
Do you think that Christianity has some kind of like a patent on forgiveness? Do you think that I can teach my son forgiveness from a non-religious point of view?
Christianity has a patent on all the good deeds and good lessons. That was what I
No,
was
they do
taught
not.
in
There's
Peter's
nothing. There's
Academy.
nothing that's taught, Marlon. There's nothing that's taught by Christianity that wasn't also taught outside of Christianity. Christianity co-opted a lot of its teachings and packaged them in its own Jewish version, for their religion. So there's nothing in there nothing that you've said tonight is unique to Christianity, like the forgiveness part, the humanitarian effort part, the humanism that you think is inherent to Christianity, which I would say Christianity is very anti-humanistic, because in Christianity you don't care about your fellow human. So I don't understand your entire point in this call here, because it seems to me like Christianity cares more about
what about love thy
Christianity.
neighbor?
Christianity, Christianity cares more about pleasing God than it does about doing good for your fellow man.
What about
And if you're talking about the golden rule, like do unto others as others would have done unto you, the thing is, those major moral things like the golden rule exist outside of Christianity, existed before Christianity. There was a very similar phrase that Jesus is supposed to have said that was said a couple decades earlier by the Jewish Rabbi Hillel, that also said very similar to, don't do evil to those around you, instead do good to them. I don't know the exact phrasing. There are similar things in Chinese wisdom literature. There's similar things in Buddhism. The ideas of forgiveness and treating others as you want to be treated is extremely widespread. It's not like only in the year 33 AD that people start saying, I'm sorry. It was not invented back then. It's far, far older.
Okay. That's very. I will do my research on that. Thank you. I'm also interested in learning about like other religions, and like other beliefs and cultures,
Okay.
There's a lot of them.
Marlon. Yeah.
Yes.
Marlon, we do have some other callers to get to. Yeah, we do have some other callers to get to. But there's a lot that we've kind of covered in this call tonight, and I hope that we can continue this. Okay. I still am very firmly on the side that Christianity has only done more harm than good, and that there's no real good that we can attribute to Christianity that isn't overcome by the harm that it's done. And I think that you've highlighted some things here that I think that you really need to reflect on. It's, whether or not Christianity has actually done good, or if these values and these principles that you've talked about tonight can be found outside of Christianity. If they can, then it seems like you don't need Christianity, right?
Yes. In a way. I mean, at the end of the day, atheists and Christians can get along, right? We can be friends, right, guys? And we can all just get along,
Right. Yeah. I mean, I get along with Christians every day. So I appreciate it, Marlon. I hope that you'll call in again with more questions and everything like that. And I hope you have a great day. I'm not sure what time it is there in the Philippines.
Thank you. Happy holidays and Happy New Year to you guys. Thank you.
Yep.
Happy New Year.
Merry holidays. Happy New Year. All right. That was a good start. Sorry. God, I got choked up there. Just letting everybody know in the comments that if you would like to call in and talk with us, we're well versed on multiple different subjects here. Most notably, historicity of the Bible, historicity of Jesus. Both Aaron and I are mythicists, so we don't believe in a historical Jesus. We think that Jesus started out as a myth, and there was no real historical figure to start the religion or what that was necessary to start the religion. And so I don't know if that strikes your fancy in the comments there, but we would love to talk to you about any evidence proving that Jesus actually existed in history. I never get tired of talking about that. But we do have a lot of great shows that are coming up this week. Tomorrow, we've got Chewed Gum with Alyssa and Taylor. Wednesday, we've got The Hang Up, I believe, actually, I don't know if we do, because I know Wednesday is New Year's Eve, and I'm not sure if we're doing our normal stuff this week for New Year's Day. But well, we should have the hang up on Wednesday, and then on Thursday we should be having TACIS. And I know this weekend I do have slated to have another Cus I Wanna, and this week I'm going to be featuring Born Again Atheist. She's been doing a lot of lives over there on TikTok, and she sometimes posts up here on YouTube. But she's a great interlocutor and a great live stream debater kind of person. So I hope that you'll tune in this week. And of course, we've got our normal shows on next Sunday, the early show, and then the later after dark show. But we do have a couple of other calls that are already screened in. I do want to emphasize that theists call in. You will be given priority, so we will talk to you as soon as we can. If you want to talk to us about anything concerning God, like proving God, proving Jesus existed, proving anything historical about the Bible, anything like that. So, Aaron, sorry, I didn't mean to dominate the lead up to the next call. Are you ready for the next call?
I am. But with one last thing to note, buy our mugs.
Oh, yes, the mugs. Mug Brawl is upon us. So definitely buy the mugs. This might be your only chance to get a very well-made heathen mug, so definitely go and check that out. Also, if you want to get the I've already forgotten what your pun is.
Infinite Jest with the olive symbol.
Right, Infinite Jest, awesome. And an Infinite Jest mug, so definitely check all that out. So next up, we've got V from unknown Kiwis. Unknown Kiwis. What's up there, V? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. You?
Doing all right.
Yeah, hello.
Hello?
Yeah, I mean, Brighton in United Kingdom. Hope you can hear me well.
Yep, we got you.
Okay.
Nice. So I'm calling in because I've really been kind of on the fence recently. Because my mom is, it's a really weird situation. My mom has never been into religion. She's studied it a lot, and she's read a lot about it. But we have never, as a family, been religious. Like, I'm agnostic, but because of our history and like USSR and stuff, we've not been religious. But recently, because of like our friend's daughter, she got baptized and she started like serving in the church. Catholic Church. She has started going to church, and she's had thoughts about converting to Catholicism. So I'm not sure how I feel about that.
Have you talked with your mother about why she wants to convert?
So I mean, she started going to like our local church because she wanted to get a little bit of routine and like start to feel a little bit of the community. In terms of actually converting, I've not really had like a full proper discussion with her about her reasons for converting. She's just said that she's thinking about it. Just because I moved to university recently, so I've not really had the chance to have a full-on discussion with her about it. And I'm assuming it's also for that sort of community and just doing good sort of thing. But it's really thrown me off. I do want to support her just because she's always been extremely supportive to me, but I don't know how to support her in this and whether I really can.
So
Do you feel like
you say that?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Aaron.
No, you please.
So you say that she's considering converting for the I guess the humanitarian stuff. Is that sorry if I was only if I only caught part of that. Is that what you were saying, that for the doing good and all this other stuff?
I mean that is the way that it comes off. I can't fully tell. I'm sorry, I can't give that much info, but it does. Like
No, you're fine.
I'm sure about it as well.
Yeah, I know if I was in your position, I definitely wouldn't approach her by being like, you really shouldn't do this because, X and X reason. I think providing support, like emotional support and everything like that, showing that you're not going to just like, I guess, shun her, if she decides to become Christian. I would, I think that you can provide, casual pushback, depending on how deeply religious she becomes. You could, if you do offer up a conversation, you could be like, well, these are the reasons why I'm not convinced by it. I can do all this humanitarian stuff, all the volunteering and everything like that. I don't need to be part of a church in order to do that. I just do it because it makes me feel good or something like that. You could bring it up that way. I definitely wouldn't come off as too pushy about it. I would definitely just offer it up in a way that is kind of an explanation as to why you're not part of that particular religion, which is Christianity, as far as I understand it. Why you're not convinced by the religion or whatnot. You could bring it up like that, and that could, if you phrase it as like more about, what you believe or what you don't believe, rather, then that could definitely strike something in her to maybe consider her position a bit more critically. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, and I mean, I guess it does make a lot of sense to not be pushy with it, like to not try and force her out of converting, because that wouldn't really be very supportive of me. But it's also kind of strange how quickly she has like switched her mindset from I'm agnostic to well, I guess we've never really had the discussion whether she's agnostic or atheist, but to like regularly going to church, participating in, like, we went to Christmas Mass on Christmas Eve, evening Mass recently, and I think one of the reasons why that's happened is one of our family friends' children, she got baptized and she started regularly serving in that church. And I think it's partly to support her. They've started going as like the two mothers. Sorry if I'm kind of like rambling on here.
No, you're fine.
Yeah,
I would say it does sound like there's definitely a lot of a social component to this. So I want to reiterate what John was saying, in that not only do you not want to be pushy, that this is your mother, this is some of the most important family you have, and you want to make sure that you're keeping these communication lines open, because the worst thing you can do is, if she's feeling isolated and she's looking for other social groups, to further isolate her, and only leaving then those groups that you might be less inclined to join. So I would say absolutely you want to be talking to your mother, understanding her, making sure that she can feel like she can talk to you about these things, and express what's going on, explain things, and maybe also have her think through her own thoughts by actually trying to explain them to you. It's actually something we even do in computer programming. We literally just like put a rubber duck on the table and talk to that rubber duck just to get our thoughts out. In the same sort of way, having those back and forth conversations is the way to understand each other and ourselves. So the best thing you can do for both your mother and for yourself is to, keep being the son that she wants to talk to.
Yeah, thank you for that. Like the rubber duck analogy is one of my favorite things ever in computing. I code, so it actually does make a lot of sense what you're saying. I fully hear it, understand it.
Yeah, and I would, if she's really looking for that kind of community aspect, or like what you would get from like going to like the Christmas mass or whatnot. Have you ever heard of the Sunday Assembly?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So Sunday Assembly is kind of like this organization, well, it is an organization, but they hold secular versions of these, the religious services that people are used to going to, but they have very secular themes, like science themes and everything that they speak on, but it gives you that same kind of familiar sense of the religious services and everything like that. So that might be something to look into to see if there is a Sunday Assembly that's near you. They're a bit sporadic out there, and you could definitely search them up. I'm not sure where you're at in the UK, but you might be able to find one that's some kind of close. But if she's looking for something like that, and she's still unsure about whether or not she believes in Christianity, that could be a route to take her down. At least it would, keep her from like tithing to like, any of the churches. And in that respect, but definitely just echoing what Aaron had just brought up there. Definitely want to keep that line of communication open to her, and I would whenever you talk to her, I definitely wouldn't come off as like a you thing, like you believe this or you believe that, or how can you believe this. Definitely make it, if you make it about you and why you don't believe, I think that can be a way for you to sort of introduce those ideas to get her critical thinking skills percolating.
Yeah, thank you for the reminder, by the way, like to keep in contact with her, because it has been a little bit more difficult since I moved to uni. But in terms of the like communications aspect of like talking through why I believe certain things, why she believes certain things, I think she is like pretty well aware of why I believe what I believe, but she hasn't really opened up about why. Like even when we lived back together, like it wasn't often about how she felt, and it's something that I feel like we definitely can work on together. So thank you for that. That is actually very, very useful and encouraging advice.
Awesome. I'm great. I'm glad that we could help. Was there anything else that you needed to ask about?
There was one thing that you said, you both don't believe in Jesus being like a real person. Did I understand that correctly? Because like from everything I've heard, or everything I've been told, Jesus is at least like was a real person. Just maybe he didn't turn water into wine.
Right. Aaron, what do you think?
Yeah. Well, it is true that John and I are outliers in that. So the vast majority of Bible scholars will tell you Jesus, very high confident, existent historical person. So I'm the weirdo. John is the weirdo. Going out there saying that we think the evidence points the other way. There are some scholars that are at least agnostic or have a positive argument against Jesus being historical. It's something we like to discuss. At the very best, the evidence is far worse than it should be to be confident about that he did exist, and the arguments that he didn't exist requires more than 5 minutes to demonstrate.
Okay, fair enough. Right, like I'm guessing there's a lot of resources where you could look into that.
Right. No, yeah. So I mean, the best, like as far as pop level goes, something that's kind of short that gives you the brief overview of it. I would suggest is Jesus from Outer Space. It's a book by Richard Carrier. He presents the minimal mythicist argument against historical Jesus, and I think that it's the most academically solid one. And he's always continuously refining it. He actually just put out a recent peer-reviewed book called "The Obsolete Paradigm of a Historical Jesus." But the pop-level version of the hypothesis is Jesus from outer space. It's in audiobook form, and it's also Kindle or physical copy. If you want to go and check that out and read it, it's a pretty good read. Short read comparatively to the other stuff, and I think that would be like a good introduction into the topic. I don't know, Aaron, do you have any suggestions?
Well, yeah, Richard Carey's books are the most important for that. I also have to shout out for The Obsolete Paradigm, since I'm one of the endorsers of that book. So my name's on the cover, so I have to say something positive about it if I put something positive on the back of the book. I'm a little bit biased in that way. Also, there's a number of good, popular, and really fun reads from David Fitzgerald. Friends with Richard Carey as well. I'm friends with him, and he's also written, at least at this point, like a half dozen books on religion and showing why we need to be skeptical of them. Some of them a little bit, just fun reads, like such as about Mormonism, why we know that's wrong. And then there's been a whole bunch about Jesus and world religions broadly, and that they kind of follow some patterns that make us always wonder, is there ever actually been like a founding figure, or has it always been basically weird experiences and then being attributed to some person to place it in history and then give it authority? So his stuff is also worth your time reading.
Thank you for that. Yeah, we'll definitely look into some of those. I'll have to go back on the stream and check those.
Awesome. All right, V.
For
yeah, totally. And I hope that you'll call back in the future, and you will give us an update on how things are going with your mom and everything like that. And if there's anything that we can do to help you out on any specific, counter arguments or any talking points that you might have questions about, please feel free to call in. We'd love to help you out.
All right, thank you guys. Sounds good. You have genuinely lifted my mood a bit about the situation. Enjoy the rest of your night.
All right, awesome, V. We'll talk to you later.
Good night.
All right, that's awesome. Okay, so before we get into our next call, I do want to remind all the theists in the comments or that might be watching, definitely call in with your questions about either God, Jesus' existence, or anything like that. We'd love to talk to you about any of those topics. We're very well versed in the counter apologetics for it, so you will have a fun time with us if you want to try to prove that God exists, or prove that Jesus existed, or that Jesus is, the magical Son of God. Just call in. We'd love to hear from you. Currently we have all atheists on the line, so we're just going to go right down the list unless we get a theist calling in. So we really need you guys to call in. Are you ready for the next call, Aaron?
Yes, though one last anecdote before we get started, because V was mentioning going to midnight mass. The last midnight mass I went to was after I became an atheist, and funny enough, it was at the Vatican. I remember being out in St. Peter's Basilica Square as the new Pope was doing his first Christmas duties as Pope, and I was there in the back as one of who knows how many heathens just in Rome at the time.
Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
Oh yeah, that was 20 years ago.
Damn. I feel like that would definitely be something that KC would want to go and do. The Christmas Mass in Rome. Yeah, she loves Rome. She thinks about Rome more than me, and that's kind of saying something. Well, I guess it would be the Roman Empire is what I would be thinking about. But in any case, next up we've got Maureen from Narnia. What's up there, Maureen? How you doing?
Fine. How are you guys?
Doing good. How's Narnia this time of year?
Oh, today it's very windy and freezing out, but it's been pretty mild actually. So it's nice here. Not as
Cool.
cold and barren as everybody thinks.
I appreciate you playing along with my fun country play there. But what would you like to ask us?
Well, first, can I just make a comment about the last caller? You had said something about for him to look for a secular community, and I kind of think that I found the line has become my replacement community for the religious community I left behind. So I guess I kind of get some community out of watching your shows and listening to you guys.
That's awesome to
anyway.
hear. We definitely we definitely want to try to garner like a good community of people that can, lean on each other, as well as, ask us for our opinions on things so that we can try to help people out. So I think it's great that you've found that here, because that's definitely something that we want to build.
Yeah, and you opened up my want to know about more science. And with Aaron here today, I thought I'd ask the question, is there a theory about the universe not having a cause, like always existing? Is that something that people are looking at? And are we ever going to be able to prove something like that? It's kind of like God. You can't disprove him completely, even though there's no reason to think about it. But they believe he has no cause, like he just was there. But I'm thinking the universe has always been there.
Yeah, there are definitely many cosmological models that don't require some beginning point of time. So as a reference, there's a book that came out several months now called The Battle for the Big Bang. And it's basically all the different cosmology models that are currently being discussed by the physicists who actually do the hard work of seeing what can we do based on the physics we know, or the physics that we think is likely to be true when we try to reconcile quantum mechanics and general relativity. What sort of models can we put together that try to make as much sense of the data as we have it? And yeah, there's a whole bunch of different models that basically say the Big Bang was not the earliest moments of space and time, that there is nothing inherently wrong with the universe in some form or another always existing. One of the ones that I have probably brought up the most here on the line, it's a model that the physicist Sean Carroll came up with, one of his graduate students, Chen, it was her name. So it's the Chen-Carroll model. And basically at the Big Bang, or at the earliest moments of our universe, you actually have time going in opposite directions. That basically the universe is expanding in two different quote-unquote directions. And this expansion is also going to be governing the direction of entropy. So how systems become more or less orderly over time, how things spread around, that is actually dictating what direction the arrow of time is pointing. And if you have that kind of expansion going in both directions, then you have opposite arrows going in both directions in time. So there's always time going, but it makes the beginning of our universe special, but not the beginning of all existence. And there's another universe that basically sees us going backwards in time by comparison. Is it wild? Yes. Is it true? I don't know. Can we test it? It's probably going to require us to validate new physics. I mentioned that a lot of it is going to be speculative on what is the ultimate reconciliation between quantum mechanics and general relativity, because when you try examining them carefully together, they end up on the paper blowing up. Just the paper just lights on fire. It just doesn't work together. So how do we actually get this to work? There's lots of different ways you can try to add new hypotheses, come up with new ideas. Are any of those true? We don't know yet. But if we go and test those out and show that there's validity to them, that would limit the possible cosmological models. So we got a lot of astronomy and a lot of particle physics to do before we can really pare down what's the best solution to the origins of life, the universe, and everything.
Well, that's a lot to think about.
That's why some people get paid to think about it all day.
Lucky you.
I'm not so lucky. I only get to spectate as the real smart physicists do this hard work. I mean, I am trained as a physicist, but even in grad school, I could tell, wow, these other grad students with me are just absolute geniuses by comparison. I am in awe by the real hardworking physicists that are pushing the field forward.
So then the competing theories, the physicists that work on these different theories of the origin of the universe, or it always existing or not, how do they get along with one another? Like, do they just say you're wrong and I'm going to prove I'm right, or what? I mean, I don't know. It seems kind of confusing to me that there's so many different theories.
Yeah. And the big reason we have a whole bunch of theories is that because we don't have enough evidence to help us pare down which of them are correct or not. And they'll go with some particular thing and say, hey, if this is true, it solved this problem and it explains something about the origins of the universe. But is this solving a problem or is it a pseudo problem? If the problem is real or not is something you might disagree about. So yeah, it's ultimately at this point a matter of, I don't want to say taste, but there isn't like hard data to say which problems are more real than others, other than, hey, this seems theoretically weird, and if we add this extra axiom, it helps solve these problems, and it has other consequences that we could potentially go out and test and see if they're real. Just as one example, right now we know that there's another source of gravity out there that we cannot observe directly with our telescopes, that we can't see the mass that provides that. So we call this dark matter. We're really confident that this effect is out there, but no one knows for sure what it is. And the two biggest camps is there's something wrong with our theory of gravity and we have to change the mathematics of it, or there's this other kind of matter out there that doesn't interact with light, and that's why we haven't detected it. Most physicists probably go the route of saying there's some kind of matter we haven't detected, but then what kind of matter is it? We haven't detected it yet. So there's lots of arguments. What's the best route? Where should we be looking? What tools should we be using for it? And then the modified gravity people are like, well, you haven't even detected this particle, so we're going to go and do something else and see what we can solve with this. And as you can see, it's like the disagreement is about how do we talk about something we haven't detected. It's reasonable to disagree when there's no evidence to tell us who's right or wrong.
So you're saying that we think there's a dark matter out there, but we're really not sure? Is that what you're working on? Like,
so what I'm saying is that we see the effects of dark matter.
Okay.
So we see the gravitational effects. We know the effect is there. We have multiple lines of evidence pointing to its existence. We just don't know what that dark matter is. And there are possible different ways of explaining it. And probably the most popular view is that some kind of particle that we have not yet detected. But because we haven't detected it, no one has the hard, definitive evidence to prove that they're right. So we have a lot of freedom to try out other hypotheses and see if it can explain the data just as well or better.
Okay. You mentioned that book, The Battle for the Big Bang. Is that something that I might be able to read, or is there something that's simpler for me to help me understand this stuff more?
That book is tried to be for the lay audience, so it is not filled with pages of mathematical derivations. If you want those, it will probably point you to the papers that you can go and read. And there is something quite nice about physics compared to the humanities. If you want to go read the physics papers, you can go to what is known as the archives. It's a preprint service, and you can go and read the papers for exactly $0, and you can read as many papers as you want.
Oh, okay. $0.
Now,
that's good for me.
Yes. Now, what's not good for you is looking at like a wall of equations or charts, and it takes 5 minutes to even figure out what the scale is on this thing. But it's at least accessible monetarily. You just need an internet connection to go to the archive. That's ARXIV, and it's basically the preprint server for the sciences.
ARXIE? Oh, okay.
IV.
All right. Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's something that I'll look into. Well, thanks a lot. You've given me a lot to think about here and to look up. That's all I really wanted to know about that. I wondered if I could make a comment about your first call and morals.
Okay.
Okay. Well, listening to Marlon going on, and he's convinced that his morals came from God, came from his religion. I really think the argument isn't where the morals came from. The argument is how humans are using those morals. Are they actually as important as people make them out to be when they, just let them go by the by-side every day? They go against their morals a lot of times. So it all basically comes down to humans and what they want to do. And what a lot of times they don't think about what's best for society, but they end up thinking about what's best for them. And I think that's where a lot of morals go by the by-side. So I really don't think the argument is where the morals came from. It's what we're doing with the morals that we've decided matter, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see your position on that, but I feel like for the moral argument, the typically what apologists and Christians alike are going to tell you is that the morals come from God, and so they make it into a more of a, well, atheists are stealing from God, to take a line from Frank Turek, in that we're denying God, but at the same time we're using the morals that He gave us. So there's that aspect of it, and then another aspect of that conversation is what exactly are these morals that people are to be using, and I think that we can make a solid argument that, like what you're saying here, it is more about how people are using this moral foundation that they have and all that. And we could totally focus on that, but at the same time, I think that what are these morals, and why do you think that these are good morals to have? I think that that's probably the conversation that they're more or less focused on.
Yeah. And I think if you're someone who believes your morals came from God, if you go against those morals, then you're letting yourself down and your God down. And I don't, I just think you're letting yourself down. Period. I don't think of God, because unless the God's, going to stand behind his morals and, end your life because you've gone against one of his rules, then, every day you're living and he's not doing anything. So you're just letting yourself down. And I still don't, see bringing a God into this at all. So anyway, that's what you guys have done to me.
I mean, I think the big problem that we are trying to argue against is divine command theory, in that a lot of people out there are using divine command theory without actually knowing that they are. And so I know, at least I try to highlight in those kind of moral conversations, is the fact that, they are actually subscribing to this divine command theory, which can possibly cause you to do pretty horrible things. And so that's typically where I try to go with a conversation. If I'm in a conversation about morality with a Christian, is trying to highlight how possibly wrong it could go if you're going to subscribe to that kind of morality.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see that. Anyway, that's all I really have, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling in there, Maureen. I hope you have an awesome night.
Yeah, you too. Hope you get some good Bible calls.
Yeah, we'll see.
Hoping.
Okay, bye.
All right. Good night.
Bye, Maureen. All righty. Well, so just a quick reminder, we do have our mug brawl that's going on right now. So if you want to get your heathen mug or your crap, what is it? Infinite Jest?
Yes.
Infinite Jest mug. Either one of those, definitely hit up that linemerch.com in order to get your mugs and everything. So we do have a few calls that are screened in. We've got a couple. I think one of them is definitely a theist. The other one is not. Are you ready to take a theist call there, Aaron?
Hoorah, let's go.
All right. So we've got Billy on the line. What's up there, Billy? How you doing?
Oh my fucking Christ, you guys actually took my call. Let me pull over. Sorry, I've been trying to call you guys for so long.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
I'm parked. I'm parked.
You're parked. Okay, good.
I'm parked. I'm parked. I pulled over and
Nice.
parked, so I know you kick people off if they don't park.
Well, I mean, we just don't want you doing anything dangerous, okay?
Nope, fully parked. I'm going to put my hazards on. They can see me. I'm off the side of the road. Sitting in front of some random person's house. But I am fully seated. No worries.
Okay, awesome. All right, so what would you like to talk to us about tonight?
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things. I'm a clockmaker theist. I was born and raised Lutheran Catholic and slowly deconverted to a clockmaker.
What does that mean exactly?
I agree. I believe in the great butterfly fart that started the universe. But I also worship's a bit strong, hold in reverence the three heavenly bodies, Sol, Luna, and Terra, the sun, moon, and earth. Because it's the three-body problem that works. And if any one of them is out of the question, we don't have life. And I think we should hold that in reverence.
Well, hold on. There are other exoplanets out there that that have all of the qualities for supporting life, and they don't have our sun or our moon and all that. So what do you? Also, I have to. Are you fucking with us? Like, is this a fuck with us call? Because I mean, you stated
this is truly what I believe. I honestly believe this. No, I'm not trying to pull your strings. I really am not. This is what I believe.
Okay, so you stated you're a clockmaker theist, but you believe a butterfly farted out the universe. You have to understand how that comes across as like a troll.
The same spot. I don't know what the clockmaker is. I don't know what triggered the Big Bang, and nobody does. And I've deconstructed to the point where I have enough doubt to say that maybe there may be a God, but I trust science enough to put it to the spot where it's still unknown. I know it's a God of the gaps thing.
Okay.
If you know it's a God of the gaps thing, then you know you're holding to the belief on a logical fallacy.
Yes. No, I do understand that. No, I'm actually kind of a big rip theory when it comes to everything exploding. That puts the beginning at the end at the same time.
Well, whether there's going to be a big rip or not is probably irrespective to the truth of the existence of God. But more importantly,
that is
if
true.
You're saying
that's why.
But like I say, fundamentally, if your reason for believing in God is, as you admit, a logical fallacy, you are basically just coming out and saying you have no good, sound reason to believe what you do.
Correct. No. I know it's me personally just making myself feel better. I understand that. But I've had a few too many supernatural experiences just leave enough doubt where I can't put God somewhere. I have enough doubt in personal experience. And I know it's all just personal conjecture, but it just leaves me the inability to totally discredit that there might be a God. I'm not saying there is a God. That's why I called it the great butterfly fart. I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows.
The thing, though, is what you're also saying seems internally incoherent because the clockmaker god is one that sets the universe and doesn't touch it. That's the whole clockmaker analogy, creating the universe that's able to run on its own. And the perfect clockmaker doesn't have to come and mess with the clock. It runs perfectly on its own. That's the sort of belief I used to have, so I know the analogy pretty well, because I used to hold to it myself.
Yeah, they just hit start and away we got. That's my
But if that's the case, then you wouldn't be getting these supernatural events happening in your life because those would be things going outside of the natural, outside of the mechanisms of the built clock. So I don't know how you can say you've had supernatural interventions and have a god that will do nothing supernatural.
Oh, I doubt them a lot. I really do. I do doubt those. But I've had a door handle turn the opposite direction in my hand in an empty apartment. Like, I've had things happen that just leave enough doubt where I was it just me being weird? Was it just, it just leaves that enough doubt where I don't want to totally give it up. Again.
I mean, you understand that that's an incredibly low bar for, like, you know, miracle or supernatural shit, right? Like you go to turn a doorknob and it turns the opposite direction. You don't think that there's some other more reasonable natural explanation for why that might have happened? I mean, I've literally had a doorknob try to turn the door and it turns in my hand and it seems to go a different, like, that's literally happened to me, and it's just user error.
I know it's just a personal experience, but it leaves that amount of doubt where I can't totally get rid of it.
No, I didn't say anything. No, I didn't go the personal, like, experience route with that. What I'm saying is that there are more likely natural explanations for that particular experience. Why would you then go to magic as opposed to just some other natural explanation?
I tried. So in this particular experience, it was my wife had a newborn. I was outside having a cigarette, my own vice. I went to walk into the apartment. It was a trailer. I turned the handle to the right. The handle spun in the left, and the door popped open to the left. There's nobody else home, and then I see my wife nursing on the couch. Like, there was no... It just left enough doubt in my brain where I don't want to totally give up on the fact that it might be supernatural. So I do also believe in karma.
What?
I think
okay.
that's more
another,
one
we can
that we can talk about than my, abstract supernaturals. But I do believe in karma hard.
Okay. What? So let's stick with the supernatural door handle for right now. What is supernatural about the handle turning a different direction? I just don't understand how that's supernatural and how that convinces you that there might be some kind of magical aspect to reality.
I went to turn the handle and it spun the opposite direction and popped open. I don't know how to explain it better than that's what I experienced.
Yeah, but I've already provided you with an alternate natural explanation of there was some kind of user error between you and the door.
Very possible. I'm not denying that. That's why. No. You were right. I'm not denying that. That's why I said it's only a maybe, not a definite.
No. I mean,
know it's very possible. It was early morning. I wasn't thinking straight. I just had a newborn. I could have been off my rocker. I totally understand that.
So my point, though, in bringing this up is to try to engage your critical thinking skills here. In that, what's more likely?
Yes, sir.
What's more likely, the supernatural or the natural explanation?
Oh, the natural. No, me. I was probably just off my rocker with a newborn.
Right. So that should not convince you, or at least
nursing. She's only a few weeks old.
I got you.
I was stepping out for a second, and I misinterpreted all of it and took it serious. Very true.
I get you
probably what happened.
Right. But so my point is that it shouldn't convince you to leave yourself open to the supernatural, or that the supernatural might exist just because you had some trouble with a doorknob handle. What would be your what would ultimately convince you away from the supernatural towards accepting more natural explanations for these experiences?
No, there's not much. I personally fight with that one logically all the time, and I try to figure it out. So, no, there isn't much
Okay.
more.
All right. So I feel like what you're telling me.
I fight it. That is my one final. Like, I have a half dozen other little things that I was able to logically put aside, and this is just the one that I'm still fighting with.
Right. I mean, I feel like what you're telling me right now is that there's nearly nothing that could convince you that to accept natural explanations over supernatural ones. It seems like there's almost nothing that we could say to you right now that would convince you of more natural explanations. You're always, anytime anything happens.
No, I agree. Yeah, no, I'm battling myself and making them natural. It's just my personal experience makes it feel supernatural.
Okay.
But it's just been a slow, long breakdown from being a Lutheran Catholic to an atheist, and I'm still stuck at a clockmaker.
Well, okay, so maybe we can go back to the clockmaker thing. I don't know, Aaron, do you have any more on the supernatural or any questions? I didn't want to dominate that too hard.
I actually kind of want to just kind of push the karma thing, I believe. I wonder what you guys take on that.
Best I can say is, in a sense, it can be socially true. If you treat other people crappy, they'll probably treat you crappy in return at some point. But beyond that, I don't see any reason that the universe itself tries dishing things out in equal measure, because some people go through life and get everything they want, and some people are born with cancer. And if that's karma, it's different than anything that we're talking about.
Shitty karma, yeah. No, I would like to say what I feel for my version of karma is that during your life, if you're a good person or a bad person, if you're a dick all the time for 40 years, that's going to have you're going to take personality traits of being a dick. So when the new guy walks up to you and you go, yeah, that guy's a dick. But if you're good your whole life, you're going to developly just kind of gather the good parts of your personality. If somebody walks up on you, oh, that's a good person. That's karma.
You know, I feel like if that were the case, then the whole concept or phrase of nice guys finish last would never be a thing.
I know, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So here's another point, because we did this with the doorknob thing, and now we're doing it with the karma thing. You're like, yeah, I know, right? Like, very obvious evidence against your hypotheses here that you're bringing up, and then you're like, yeah, that, you know, I get, you know, that definitely proves it's bullshit.
I try to be honest, and I believe in science. And yeah, no, I'm a dyslexic who took me 13 years to graduate high school. Please help me.
Okay. I mean, I am trying to help you engage those critical thinking skills. My point, my point in this is that it seems to me like you desperately want to hold on to these supernatural beliefs as opposed to actually engaging in some critical thinking and rejecting very obviously false things. Because like at no point in history has a supernatural explanation ever overcome a natural one. So if we can think of a natural explanation for things like Aaron bringing up the social aspects of karma and how karma could have developed out of a perception of the social repercussions of acting certain ways. Like he brought that up, and that seems far more likely than the supernatural karma is being collected somewhere up above your head, like you're in The Sims, and you know, eventually you're going to suffer for that. Like, I feel like maybe engaging in more critical thinking here is probably what's needed. And if me personally, if I could think of a natural explanation that seems to explain whatever kind of thing I'm experiencing or idea that I have, I feel like that is always going to be the go-to thing. Like, it's always going to be the go-to, like, oh yeah, that's probably this. And just rejecting that supernatural thing.
You're right. I'm still struggling to let go of that last bit of God. I really am. And that's why I called you guys.
No, and we appreciate you calling.
Like, I've been deconstructing for a long time, and it just made me feel okay if I could just say God was over there. You know what I mean? Thank you.
I mean, I guess so. I don't know. Aaron, what are your thoughts?
I really think we've hit the main thing, is that from what Billy is talking about, is that it's not, this is your journey. We're here to help and talk to you about it. But right now it sounds like, your ideas are a little bit messy, and it's going to take a little bit of time to organize things.
At least I hope my morals are okay. You guys agree with those?
Yeah, I mean, we really didn't get into the moral discussion there, but we do have other calls to get to.
No, take your calls, but my morals is that we all should respect Terra, Mother Earth, as every planet, every animal, everything needs to be respected and held in reverence. I think you can agree with me on that one. Okay.
If I can repeat the sage words of, if I may repeat though the sage words of Abraham Lincoln, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes.
Be excellent and party on. Thank you, my friend. I know I'm still in the middle of deconstructing. Thank you for the call. I've been trying to get a hold of you guys for a while, so I'm very appreciative. You guys have a wonderful day.
All right. See you later, Billy.
Drive safe.
All right. Well, that was an interesting call. So let's see. We do have another theist on. We do have a new poll up. Do you care if Jesus really existed? I know that we're gonna get some pushback there in the comments, but that's the reason for the poll. So if you're religious and you do care, or if you're an atheist and you do care, consider calling in. To ask us various questions about that particular topic if you want to. We're uniquely positioned to answer those topics or that topic. I see there's 4% that says yes, you care if Jesus really existed. So that's going to be what 4% is about 4 people in the chat. 6 now, it's 6. But anyways, y'all call in. The number is 720-619-2288. I would love to answer any questions that you have about mythicism or anything like that. Also, origins of Christianity, like just those origins in general. That would be great. So we've got somebody calling in from, I guess, the Undulating Nights again. Are you ready to take the next call? All right. Unyielding, converted atheists calling in from Unyielding Knockers. What's up there, converted atheists? How you doing?
Hello?
Hello.
I just
hear
want
you.
to check. Do you hear me? And I want to know, do I have to speak loud or can I speak like this?
I hear you fine.
I can hear you fine.
You can hear me. Okay.
Yes.
The first thing that surprised me when I called you was this guy that was talking to me in introduction. He was interviewing me. And the guy didn't even know what is Medjugorje. Did you two ever heard about Medjugorje?
So sorry, were you talking about our screener? Because our screener is Stephanie.
I don't know, the first person who was on the line.
Yes, our screener Stephanie. So she her is the how she identifies. So in any case, what are you calling about?
Medjugorje. Did you hear about that?
I still didn't catch that.
Medjugorje.
So you probably don't even know the word of it. Medjugorje. Maybe you call it in English-speaking area with some weird pronunciation, like Medjugorje or something.
What?
Okay. Let me explain like this. Did you ever hear about the apparition of Virgin Mary in Bosnia, in little place? It's in ex-Yugoslavia.
Okay, so I know about Virgin Mary appearances.
That place,
right, I understand that.
In ex-Yugoslavia is called Medjugorje. Did you ever hear about it?
I've heard about several Virgin Mary sightings that pop up. They're always bullshit. So, what? It says
what is supposed to be special about this one here in Bosnia?
Yes. Okay. Listen to me. So, two of you are probably not even aware of the significance of that event. Like you're probably like majority of atheists around the world. You're probably not aware of the significance of that event, like how big it is, because it is big like this. You know, when Moses parted the Red Sea, and he was taking the Israelites through the Red Sea. He done this great miracle. The events that are coming upon this world from Medjugorje are that big, okay? So, in Medjugorje, Virgin Mary, can I just say why am I speaking you this? Like, explain why. Because
please.
Atheists and agnostics, they are like on the shows like this, they are like asking for a proof of God, that is one of the main things, like you are asking for a solid proof of God. And the whole time,
converted atheist, what's your fucking proof for God?
I'm coming to it. Medjugorje, this place. So you don't know that in Medjugorje, Virgin Mary gave 10 secrets about the near future of mankind.
Would this be similar to what happened with the sightings at Fatima as well, which were also claimed to be prophecies of the future, and people claim, oh, they knew about World War I or how things were going to end in World War I because of those visions? Is this supposed to be similar to those claims?
Probably, but this is much bigger, because according to our beliefs, Christians and Catholics, we are living in the end times. So,
Christians have been saying that for 2,000 years.
Yeah, so converted atheists, what? No, well, hold on. How do you know that it's the end times?
Well, I will explain in a very coherent way. These 10 secrets from Medjugorje, do you know what they are? You never heard of it, right?
Why would we believe these claims over any others?
The first two secrets in Medjugorje are global warnings that God will send to humanity.
How
secret
do
is
you
great.
know?
The third secret is great, indestructible
No,
sign.
no. How do you fucking Christ? How do you know these things? What I mean, you could just be pulling it out of your ass right now, and I would have no idea. This literally means nothing. You've been on exposition for like 5 minutes already. So yeah, because you've been online for 6, you've been talking for 5 of them. I have no fucking clue as to what your evidence is, how you know it's the end times, or why in the fuck this Virgin Mary appeared to whoever in the fucking wherever the fuck.
Yeah, that is the weirdest thing. The weirdest thing is that you never heard about it, right? You never
Why would we
heard about
care?
Medjugorje
What's the
and
reason
10
to
secrets.
believe any of it?
Because the third secret is the great and permanent, indestructible sign that God will place in Medjugorje. So it's big
How
like
do you
Moses
know
parting the
these
Red Sea.
signs? No, how do you know these
And
signs?
then,
Where do they come from? Do they come from the Bible? Did you pull them out of your ass? Did you vomit them up
listen,
after a long night of drinking? Can you please tell me how you know that these are signs of the end times?
well, does it mean anything for you if God places a great indestructible sign in Medjugorje? Does it present anything for you? Do you understand
Why does
what
it
it means?
matter where it takes place? God damn. Like, you're not telling me anything.
So that is okay. Last 7 secrets are great punishments for the world. So you are telling me that it doesn't matter anything for you if all this comes true.
Converted
Oh my
atheist,
God.
as I've asked multiple times, why should we take any of the claims seriously? Because claims like this have been made for thousands of years, have been wrong for thousands of years. Having a Bosnian version of it
No, they
doesn't
haven't.
make it any better or worse.
No,
Why
they
should we
haven't.
believe
This
these
is
particular apparitions,
this is
these particular
no.
prophecies are any better than the ones at Fatima, for example, or anything else that I might just make up in the next 5 minutes?
Well, the third secret of Fatima, according to our beliefs, was never fully disclosed. And the second secret of Fatima, it did happen, the World War II. So
I sincerely doubt Fatima. No, I sincerely doubt the Virgin Mary appeared to whoever in the fuck was drinking whatever vodka you were drinking.
Yeah, listen to me. So this is the biggest possible opportunity for you to prove that Medjugorje is false, because there has to be 2 global warnings.
No. So that's not how this works. That's not how this works. Okay. First, you have to prove that it is true, or that this appearance of Mary actually did happen. We don't have to prove that it's false. You have to provide evidence that it actually is true. And so far, all you've done is offer exposition that I can barely follow.
The proof is when these 2 first secrets become true. And then the third secret is the great indestructible sign. So when it becomes...
If it's a
in other words,
secret, nobody would know about it.
Great.
It's not a fucking secret.
Converted atheist, what you are telling me is you actually don't have any evidence for the truth of these. You are saying these are things to come. You have no actual reason, though, to believe those things except pure assertion. And I keep bringing up the prophecies related to Our Lady of Fatima because that was supposed to have taken place in 1917. And one of the things about those prophecies is that allegedly they were given by the Virgin Mary in 1970 or 1917, but they weren't written down until the 1940s. So when you're telling me all these things and these secrets and how nobody knows about them, it also might be because it's got a really shitty paper trail, and it's just like all the other prophecies of Christianity for the last thousands of years, that they're all after the fact, late, made up, and still false.
Really wrong on this. No, you are wrong on this.
You've been asserting
Because
that. Show me any
well
reason to
known
believe you
what
about
10
anything.
secrets are.
What's your evidence? Converted atheist, what is your evidence that any of these claims are true?
What is the evidence? Did you ever saw any of these apparitions happening where little children that are, some of them are 6-year-old, they suddenly see a Virgin Mary? Is that any proof for you?
It shows me little kids have stories. Guess what? This is something parents have known about for tens of thousands of years.
Yeah, listen to me. The biggest proof is when you will get the great indestructible sign placed in Medjugorje. Is that a big thing?
You mean this proof doesn't exist yet? We actually don't have the proof right now? Are we correct about that?
Yes.
No.
So in other words, you have no proof at all.
Yeah, you're totally wrong, converted atheist. It's when the See, the indestructible sign is actually going to get planted in Huntsville, Alabama. Okay, and when it gets planted there, you're going to be really, really sorry.
I didn't understand that part. Are you joking?
No more than the Mormons were, that they knew the actual place where Jesus was going to come down, and it was going to be, I believe, originally in Missouri is where Jesus was supposed to come back, according to early Mormon belief. So, unfortunately, while John was trying to joke, unfortunately, all claims about Jesus coming back have proven to be bad jokes.
You think that I am joking? You think that I'm joking?
So converted atheist, my point is that I offered up just as much evidence for me talking about some indestructible sign appearing in Huntsville, Alabama, as you have given us for this indestructible sign appearing in wherever in the fuck, Bosnia. So, I mean,
listen to me. Please. Can I speak?
You're speaking.
So the great indestructible sign is being announced in front for such a long time because it's going to happen. So that two of you wouldn't have the opportunity to say that you have never even heard of it, like I'm telling you right now. And the only weird thing, the weirdest thing.
But how do you know that this is going to happen?
Well,
how do you know? Did it say it in your Bible? Did somebody get drunk and tell you this? Like, where the fuck does this come from?
Okay, so you have actually never heard about Medjugorje.
No, I've never heard about Medjugorje.
Do you want me to spell it down in the chat? Maybe you
I
don't
actually already have the Wikipedia page up for Medjugorje, so I've already looked this up while we were talking. And again, yes, and here's the thing. You've given us not one even beginning point to believe any of these claims are true, that they're any more likely than anything John or I will just make up. You have presented as much evidence as us just making up bullshit on the spot. So again, last time, please.
No.
What is the evidence that any of these claims are actually true?
Okay, listen to me. Do you understand what kind of situation is this dialogue between the two of us? This is the same thing when Moses came to Egyptian Pharaoh and he says to him, you have to do this, otherwise this is going to happen. So it's the same thing. I'm telling you now that is going to happen.
Actually, it's not the same thing, because the main difference is there's a big difference between the Moses story and what's happening here. One, this is clearly happening. You're clearly telling us things. The Moses story never happened. That's actually one of the things that we know from archaeology, that the whole Exodus Moses story did not happen. Unfortunately, no. That's actually the consensus of archaeology, that the Exodus story is not historically real.
Not true. It doesn't matter. We disagree. It doesn't matter.
That's what I'm sorry?
What does matter is that we have.
No, it actually does matter, because if all these things are premised on the truth of the Bible, and I'm telling you, one of the most important stories from the Old Testament is historically hogwash, and you're going to use that to show why you are correct, this story that's false, guess what? You've actually undercut your authority. It matters a lot. So the fact of the matter is, you want to draw your authority from the Moses story, and I'm pointing out that the vast majority of archaeologists and Bible scholars that have actually looked at this evidence objectively have come to the conclusion it didn't happen. You're in trouble.
Yeah, listen to me. Let's focus on the events in front of us, and that is Medjugorje. That is the two warnings and the great indestructible sign in Medjugorje. Okay?
Now here's the thing.
What
You keep
is
talking
this
about
great?
how many secrets were given at Medjugorje?
10.
10.
10 secrets.
So you're actually a little bit misinformed. There's an 11th secret. The 11th secret is, please disregard the previous 10 secrets.
Oh,
Mary just
man.
I don't know why you're joking.
Mary punked your
The
ass,
last
yo.
Yeah, okay, so you're joking.
Can you
about
imagine
it, but
Mary
I'm
up in the sky? She's Mary. Hold on. Can you imagine Mary's up in the sky and is like, you know, like, oh yeah, here's the 10 secrets, and then the 11th secret comes, and and it's like, yeah, disregard all that bullshit, and then Ashton Kutcher comes out the side, and he's like, oh, you got owned, you got, what was it, pwned? I don't know.
Punked.
You got punked. You got punked. Sorry, I'm showing my age. So, yes, you got punked by Ashton Kutcher. How do you feel, converted atheist? There's cameras there. There.
So, this is what Virgin Mary said, okay? She said that after these 10 secrets are fulfilled, the fate on the earth will be the same as in the ancient times. So there won't even be people like you after the 10 secrets are over, because everybody will see what is obvious. Those who survive the 10 secrets.
And
Because
Christians and Jews
7
have been saying the same thing for thousands of years and have been wrong for thousands of years. Why should we place any more stock in these claims than anyone else's for the last thousands of years, including Jesus being wrong about the end of the world coming in his own century?
There was never anything as big as Medjugorje in the history of Catholic religion.
You're saying this is literally bigger than Jesus? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking to converted atheists, but this is John Lennon here. I guess we're bigger than Jesus, man.
So this is big like end time.
Is it big? Like, was there a did at Medjugorje, when this happened as well, did the saints come out of the graves and come into the city and seen by many people? That's what happened when Jesus was put to death. You know, that seems pretty big. Are you saying Medjugorje was bigger than that?
Happening, like miracles of the sun, angels appearing, Virgin Mary appearing. You even have the video of a Pope appearing, John Paul II. He appeared on one of the apparitions as a glowing figure. You even have a video of that on YouTube.
Okay, no. You're not going to get us with any kind of pareidolia. I don't know, Aaron, are you done? Or you want to play some more?
Well, I do need to point this out because, again, there is a Wikipedia page for this. And let me just read a little bit from it. So there was So apparently Pope Francis came to the site back in May of 2017, and he said that the event should be looked into more depth, while the subsequently continued visitations over the years are, in his view, of dubious value. So all these things of people saying, oh, all these things that keep happening at the site, even the Pope says, guys, tone it down. This ain't legit. So I'll go with the Pope on this particular case.
Yep.
No, not
Okay,
true.
converted atheist.
Not
I think that we're done.
I
think that
literally
we're
just
done
read
with
that from
this.
Wikipedia.
Can I
Right.
say
Yeah.
something more?
No. No, you can't, because you've offered no evidence for it. You've offered only claims, and you
Only one
haven't
thing.
been able to tell us where you're getting this information from, other than, I guess,
say
directly
one more
from
evidence?
Fatima herself.
You haven't
No,
said
Can
any
I'm not
evidence.
gonna.
I think we're done
more
for tonight.
Yep. So sorry. I dropped him. Finger slipped. My bad. All right. I don't know. I feel like we definitely need a palate cleanser after that, and I think that we're gonna pull up an atheist, because we've got two atheists and one theist calling in. I think this one's gonna go a little bit quick, and also she's been hanging on for a while now. We're going to Maggie from my home state, Alabama. What's up there, Maggie? How you doing?
Hey, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. How are you?
How are you? I'm all right. Yeah, I'm not having the video up. Realizing I'm having a little more difficulty distinguishing the voices. This is John, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I guess my question kind of can go for both of you, although I was thinking maybe Aaron would have a little more knowledge about it. So I've seen some like news articles about what is it? Some people doing a study to disprove simulation theory mathematically. And
all right.
I don't know. I mean, it's like something that could be, but I feel a little skeptical of like, is that really something that they can do?
Well, I have to admit, I have not looked into this with any great depth, but part of the way it is argued, like the main argument was started by a philosopher by the name of Nick Bostrom, if I'm remembering correctly, and his argument was basically about like what the future of computing would be, the ability to create simulated worlds, and that simulated worlds would then outnumber real worlds, and so just by sheer probability, we would end up in a simulated world than a real world. That's the very, very basics of how he was arguing it. So I could imagine if you are going about and saying, well, what are the limits of computation? What are the limits of a simulated universe? Could you detect those limitations within a simulation? Now, again, I don't know the mathematics of it. I'm just thinking off the top of my head, that in principle seems like you could do that if you could have some semblance of looking for digital encoding of the universe, but I do not know enough about how to do that in any mathematically rigorous way.
I just went back. I got up, went step outside, and then remembered that like I haven't read the paper yet. I'm not sure how much of it I'll be able to understand. I'm just a layperson. But I did pull up the paper. Consequences of Undecidability in Physics on the Theory of Everything by Faisal, Kraus, Shabir, and Marino. Was published in Journal of Holography Applications in Physics. Basically, reading from the abstract, they're arguing that, like starting from the top of it, general relativity treats space-time as dynamical and then exhibits its breakdown at singularities. This failure is interpreted as evidence that quantum gravity is not a theory formulated within space-time. Instead, it must explain the very emergence of space-time from deeper quantum theories of freedom. I'll kind of skip ahead. Like, basically what they seem to be arguing is that gravity and everything else can't be combined into a theory of everything in an algorithmic way, and thus is like undecidable. Something like that. They say together these are having Gödel's incompleteness theorem, Tarski's undefinability theorem, and Chaitin's information theoretic incompleteness establish intrinsic limits on any such algorithmic program. They're saying that together these results imply that a wholly algorithmic theory of everything is impossible.
Interesting. So, well, I don't know how ultimately successful that would be because my first thought is, like you mentioned, Gödel's incompleteness theorem. So for the sake of the audience, this was something worked out by a Austrian mathematician by the name of Kurt Gödel in the early 20th century, that there are mathematical statements that you can make in an axiomatic system that cannot be proven true or false in that system. So there might be things that are true but are impossible to prove or disprove one way or the other. And while that sounds somewhat abstract, this actually also intersected some important things in transfinite set theory and things like that. But more importantly, there's a related thing in computer science, the stopping problem with an algorithm. Can you actually predict that an algorithm will stop? And Alan Turing had basically took Gödel's kind of argumentation and applied to that and said, actually, no, you can't build an algorithm that would tell you that a program will actually stop, that it will actually complete. Now, I can tell you some programs won't complete. Early on, when I was learning to program in C++, I had a lot of terrible infinite loops because I had no idea what I was doing. I'm better now. I'm much better now, fortunately. But yeah, so I wonder, even if with the incompleteness theorem and things like that, I mean, you could still have the computer, still have the universe be a computer, but still always have the wondering, hey, I wonder if we got any infinite loops by accident in this code. So I don't know ultimately how successful that approach would be, but again, having not read the paper, I can't speak to it very much. But part of the title you also mentioned was holography, and that is also another attempt to deal with the information paradox with black holes. So the problem there is that when things fall into black holes, they can eventually, after a long amount of time, be re-emitted as Hawking radiation. And the issue that happens is that the information about that material, the quantum information about that material, is lost in that process. And quantum mechanics requires this to be conserved. So having this being lost is basically throwing out not just the laws of quantum mechanics, but like literal probability theory. You don't have all your probabilities adding up to 100%. What's the chances of rolling a 6 on a die? 33%. And the other side's all 33%. Added up, that doesn't make any sense. That's what black holes are doing with our current theories. And we're like, well, that can't be right. So how do we fix it? And the holography principle is the idea that the information can actually be encoded on a higher dimensional surface. And people like Leonard Susskind realize, hey, you could actually apply this to the whole universe, treat the whole universe as basically a 5-dimensional black hole, and have all the information encoded on the surface of that 5-dimensional black hole. And it might potentially lead to some other solutions to quantum gravity. So if they're using holography to make the argument, then it's based on the premise that you believe in the holographic principle. And I don't know if that is, the future solution to these problems or not. So we probably are not going to disprove the simulation hypothesis this way, just because it's built on a premise that is very hypothetical in physics. If you want to disprove that, you're going to probably need a different approach where the premises are more in agreement amongst people.
Right. Yeah.
But again, I have not read the paper. They might have some other knockout reasons that I just don't know, because again, I haven't read the paper, and I'm sure I would also look at the equations and say, give me a week to figure out this first one.
Yeah. I mean, kind of what I was thinking is that the headlines are always going to sensationalize everything, and so I was being a little bit suspect. Is it really disproven, or are they just blowing it up beyond what is the intended scope of the paper?
Like I say, having not read it, I can't say, but if they're saying that there's an algorithmic limitation to the computability of physics, yeah, maybe it can. I guess the question is, are those results rigorous, and can they be generalized beyond holographic principles to make the case? It sounds actually kind of interesting. It's not the way I would try to go about disproving the simulation hypothesis, and my way is a little bit more on the practical and moral side of things. Imagine this. If we're supposed to be believing that super advanced civilizations are simulating entire universes, what kind of universes are they most likely to simulate? And are they going to simulate universes that are wonderful to visit and live in, or hellscapes? And would they create a universe like ours that includes things like tsunamis and holocausts? And that seems like only moral monsters would create universes to create agents inside of it that would have tremendous suffering, when they easily could have decided, hey, let's simulate universes that are just filled with happiness and ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, and I guess I kind of approach the whole simulation theory as in the vein of like hard solipsism, in that I guess for me, regardless of whether or not we are in a simulation, we're still faced with this reality. We all share in the experience of this reality as far as we can tell. And so like we still have to adhere to the laws of this reality that we're in. So I guess I would be more of a pure agnostic on it, in that I don't think that we would ever be able to know for sure. And so whatever we come to, like whatever conclusion we come to or whatever proof we end up coming to, I think that we ultimately can't know in that particular situation. But I do like Aaron's thought process on that. I hadn't thought about that particular part of it.
Yeah.
But Maggie, was that all that you wanted to ask about tonight?
Pretty much, yeah. It was just something that was definitely in the realm of the cosmological that I'm not well trained in. I was curious if you had any thought or insight or had heard of it before. But yeah, that's all I've got.
Okay. Well, I really appreciate you calling in. You have any more questions about, complex topics like this, feel free to call in on any of these SkepTalks or, the Sunday shows or anything like that. Okay.
Absolutely. I've kind of wanted to call in for a while, but haven't had a particularly good reason until now, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah. Thank you, John. Thank you, Aaron. And see you guys later.
All right. See you later, Maggie.
Bye-bye.
All righty. So we're coming up on the last couple of calls for tonight. We're going to go to our theist next. You ready there, Aaron?
Let's do this.
All right. So we've got Ethan calling in. What's up, Ethan? You're on the line.
Hi, thank you for taking my phone call. I just had a quick question about mythicism. Is there any type of consensus on what Jesus would have been based on? Like, is he just a rehash of the resurrected hero god? Or is he based on like Osiris, or, I mean, not Odin, but, other resurrected gods? Because he's not based on anybody according to mythicism, right?
Well, no, not necessarily. So as far as minimal mythicism would go, minimal mythicists, state that Christianity is a product of syncretism between Judaism and other mystery cults that were in the Mediterranean area. So it's not that they were like Jesus was copied off of anybody necessarily. It's more like the Jewish population in the Mediterranean saw a need for a Jewish mystery cult. And so what they started to do was reinterpret Old Testament scriptures in order to be able to find this savior figure already in Judaism. And when you get to the first century, you've got Philo of Alexandria that identifies an angel in the current Jewish angelology that seems to fit the bill for a lot of the things that are promised by the typical mystery cult saviors. And Philo is busy trying to syncretize Hellenistic ideas with Judaism, comes up with this archangel figure, and we see Paul also describing a similar figure that he only ever characterizes as being a revelatory being, and characterizes him in the same way as Philo does, as Philo is syncretizing Hellenism with Judaism, and we just see Paul's version of it gaining more traction, getting more popular. So it's not that Jesus is based off of like any person in history, like historical person. It's more like Jesus is a syncretization between what was already in Judaism and the wider Hellenistic mystery cults.
And to put some extra meat on the bones that John has here, when it comes to Jesus' relationship to other gods, especially dying and rising gods or gods that appeared after being killed. So, for example, in the Gospel of Luke, after Jesus' resurrection, he is like seen but not recognized on the road to Emmaus. And this is very similar to a story that was told of Romulus, that one of Romulus's followers was going down one of the major roads and basically came across the resurrected Romulus, who had come down from heaven to tell him, hey, I was actually a god the whole time, and if you listen to me, Rome is going to be this great, awesome empire. So, shape up, and you're going to do awesome. So there's some relationship there, and there seems to be purposeful paralleling between the Road to Emmaus story and the Romulus on the road story. The story of Jesus turning water into wine. It looks like there's a lot of imitation of Dionysus and similar stories of him turning water into wine, or being the wine god generally, and also being a god who was killed and comes back from the dead. So there were probably at least some conscious efforts to mimic or supersede those sorts of myths, because the Jesus myth was clearly coming in and trying to say, hey, I'm the new resurrected God in the house, and I have to show how I'm similar but better than these guys who came before me. And folks like Justin Martyr in the 2nd century would point out and say, yes, there were these other people that were born of virgins or came back from the dead or ascended to heaven, but you see, the devil made up all those stories to confuse you all. Admitting, of course, that these stories are earlier, and yes, they're definitely similar.
Okay, that's a lot of information. I mean, I definitely for sure see the similarities between Jesus and a lot of, resurrected gods like Odin coming up with the runes. And I guess where I kind of trip up is seeing how mythicism explains like the increasing the complexity of Christology, because it seems like the synoptic gospels present a little bit of a more human Jesus, and then John, and then Paul's letter, like it gets a little bit more complex until we get to Nicaea. So it just seems like
I think so. I think we have to reorient ourselves with how all of those things were, what time frame those things were written in. Paul's letters were written between the mid 50s to like early 60s, right? And then the Gospels came after that, late 60s or right around 70 was when Mark was written. And this is an important transition point, because you've got Paul's epistles, which present a highly mythologized Jesus. He's initially a revelatory being. He needs his apostle. He needs to reveal himself to his apostles for everybody to be able to receive the gospel of Jesus. He's a pre-existent archangel figure to Paul. So he's already highly mythologized right out the gate with Paul's first letters, right? And then we get to Mark, who's trying to euhemerize Jesus into history. And what that means is that he was doing what Euhemerus did. What Euhemerus did was he took the some mythical god people. I think it was Romans. Was it Roman gods? I can't remember if it was Roman or Greek that he took.
Apollo.
And he basically,
Apollo.
Apollo's in both. Apollo's in both pantheons. Euhemerus was writing in the late 4th, early 3rd century, and yeah, it was originally Zeus and the Olympians who were being turned into regular folks who then got blown up. So Zeus was originally a dude who created a cult to himself. Aphrodite was just a really good prostitute, so that's why she became known as the goddess of love. Things like that. That is allegedly, at least, what Euhemerus was writing about, and this became a trend for centuries afterwards. It was a relatively popular way of telling or retelling God stories.
Yeah. And so that's what starts with Mark. At least that's the only extant, one of these that we have. So Mark euhemerizes Jesus into history by taking Old Testament scriptures and creating stories about this Jesus character and placing them on earth in order to teach about the religion that they've inherited, basically. And so when you talk about the high Christology, we see high Christology at first, right, with how Paul sees Jesus Christ, and then you go into the euhemerization stuff. And when the euhemerization first comes around, he's dropped significantly in Christology because he ends up being an adopted son of God. He's not as magical and as powerful as the later Gospels portray him as. So once you hit the Mark Gospel and you see this very reduced magical Jesus, you then start to see a ramping up in the mythology of it, getting all the way to John in the 2nd century, who sort of reverts to how Paul sees Jesus as this pre-existent archangel figure that was present with God at the beginning of the universe, and Jesus was the agent of creation and all this other stuff. That's how that's how Paul sees him, but that's also how the Gospel of John sees Jesus. And so I think that we need to orient ourselves correctly with this Christology stuff and get the timeline correct there.
Yeah, to highlight you're what correct. John is talking about here, in Philippians 2, there's a hymn here, a creed here, that is often called pre-Pauline. So this comes back to like earliest Christianity, and it basically says Jesus is a God in his own right. He's not equal with, capital G God, but he's a divinity who comes down from heaven, who then takes on human form and then is exalted. So he's a pre-existing being who comes from the supernatural realm to our realm and takes on human form. That's a much higher Christology than he was a dude and people realize he was a cool dude.
Okay, yeah. You're correct. The Paul was written before Mark, so I was wrong about that, the timeline. I guess it still doesn't. Was it like a story beforehand? I guess I would be looking for an origin. Is there an idea of where the origin would be from of Jesus?
Aaron, I've been talking a lot. Do you want to answer this one?
I'll try. Yeah. So fundamentally, there was already the concept that there was going to be some sort of Messiah figure coming in the near future. You already had, predictions of one like the Son of Man coming in the book of Daniel, and when you use the prophecy there, it even is supposed to give like a timeline on when that Son of Man figure is supposed to come by and ride on a cloud and basically bring on the end times. And originally, the book of Daniel would place this event in the 160s BC, and anyone after 160 BC would tell, well, that didn't come true, so let's reinterpret the prophecy because we can't believe it's falsified. And one of the ways you can calculate it is that the Messiah will come in the 30s AD. So one of the possibilities is one of these calculations put the coming of that Messiah figure at that time. There are also ways of reading the scriptures to talk about what this figure might do, that the good servant might have to suffer. That's something you see in Tritio Isaiah. And we know the Christians are pointing to that and applying that and saying this applies to Jesus. So could it just be that some earlier Jewish group was already looking at this and expecting a Messiah who dies? And we do actually have evidence of dying Messiahs that come from heaven. So it's a slightly later text, but it's called 4th Ezra. It's written right towards the end of the 1st century, and it also talks about a Messiah figure very similar to the Son of Man riding on the clouds figure from the book of Daniel, who comes down from heaven, rules for 400 years, and then dies. So another heavenly messianic, and also says to be somehow also a son of David. So even though he lives in heaven, he's also somehow a son of David, but comes down, does good stuff, then dies, and then the end of the world comes. So these sorts of concepts were floating around. Christians just become the one that we know about the best because eventually they took over the world and preserved their writings.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for the information. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've never really read too much into mythicism.
It can be hard to research because, one, it is a fringe position. The vast majority of Bible scholars won't give it the time of day, and most websites out there that might give you mythicist talking points are not good, and some of them are much less than not good. So it can be very easy to be misinformed by a lot of that internet information.
Yeah, there's definitely two sides to mythicism. One is the crank, like conspiracy theorist type stuff. That would be like your Atwells that say that the Romans created Jesus or something like that. But that's why I go with the more evidentially based minimal mythicism, in that minimal mythicism uses our existing evidence in order to make a coherent argument for Jesus not actually existing as a person, but rather being a mythological creation of early Jews and Jewish Christians. I think that is better supported by the evidence, obviously.
So I just want to ask one clarifying. So you think that Jesus was not a historical person, but kind of a conglomerate? I think I didn't understand what the last.
Right. So it's a. Go ahead, Aaron.
Yeah, I would say most accurate that not based on a historical person and is mostly a creation of theology and interpretation. It may go back to identifiable people. It might be that Peter was the first person who put these scriptures together and had a vision, and this is the starting point for others to start following Peter and realizing, oh, the Messiah just talked to me, Peter, and now I understand what's going to happen. And then from there, the religion might grow. That might be as close as we can say of a historical founder, not Jesus himself, but the people who started that interpretation.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And
yeah, no problem.
Yeah, I hope you all have a good night.
All right, you do the same, Ethan. You have any more questions, feel free to call back and ask us.
I will, and I did think about, the question that you gave, me last week. So I've been thinking more about that, just taking everything with a skeptical mind. So, not a skeptical mind, but yeah, it reminded me of David and Bathsheba. What's that?
I was just saying more critical, and then now you're talking about David and Bathsheba. What about David and Bathsheba?
Well, I mean, the consent with Mary and God. I mean, I don't want to, bring up another from the last call, but I don't know if you ever considered that. I mean, with consent, it's along the same lines as David when he told his servant to go get Bathsheba. she didn't have too much of a choice in the matter.
Right,
That's what
yeah,
I'm
no.
just saying. It reminded me of that.
Oh yeah, that was totally rape too. Like it generally in the Old Testament, it's rape all the way down.
Yeah, it's pretty sobering thought.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that really struck for you, and I'm glad that you started, thinking a bit more critically about, what you believe, why you believe it, and everything. That's why we're here.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It's like one of the few places that I actually can actually talk about anything like this. So, I mean, it's one thing to read about it, but like actually hearing yourself say it out loud, it's a different ball game.
Totally. All right. Well, Ethan, I hope you'll call back again in the future, and I hope you have a great night. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Take care.
All right. Bye. All right, so we're moving on to our last call for tonight. That was a great mythicist call right there, especially seeing the fruits of our conversational labor here on this channel of really getting people to question these things that they're reading in their holy books and everything like that. So definitely W caller there. But now we've got Nathan calling in from Wobbling Insects. What's up there, Nathan? How are the insects?
They're frozen to death right now. It's Wisconsin early winter here, and it's fucking cold out.
Yeah, I bet. So what's up, Nathan? What you got for us tonight?
Yep. My question is, simply put, what the fuck is the fabric of space? I mean, for context, I understand like things moving in space, moving away from each other in space, but space itself expanding. I'd like to know what that means.
All right. Well, in some ways, you have two questions here. What is the fabric of space-time, and what is this expansion of it? One of those, surprisingly, is easier to answer than the other one. So I'll start with the first one. What is the fabric of space-time? I have no fucking idea, and nobody really does, because that is active research of basically what is the most fundamental stuff in the universe. Our theory suggests that fields and quantum fields are the most fundamental ways of understanding nature, but it also seems to be implying that maybe space and time are not fundamental, and that actually can emerge from quantum field theory. Is that actually true? Nobody really knows. Can we actually show that it's the best way to go about things? Physicists disagree. So my best answer is, I don't know. Anyone who claims that they know needs to do a whole lot more work, and then they deserve a couple Nobel Prizes. Before then, we have to say active area of research and much left to be explored. Literally, we need to explore nothing to understand everything better.
Hey, that makes sense. That clears things up. I mean, I don't mean I suddenly fucking understand everything now, but now I understand that we don't understand it.
Yeah. At the very least, space and time, it's our mathematical framework for putting things in our grid system so we can track stuff. But if space and time are freestanding or if they're based on something else, to be determined. And Nathan, if you can join the physics community and help us answer that question, we'd be really appreciative of it.
That would be nice. I'm trying to work up the courage to finish Alien Isolation on Nightmare mode right now. So I'll put that one on the back burner.
I only got about a third of the way through that game. So I know exactly what you were playing, and yeah, have the lights on because it's creepy.
I'm 4 missions from the end.
Okay. Oh goodness. Don't spoil it for me then. Okay.
I won't. It's fucking terrifying.
Right.
That's your spoiler.
Oh yeah. Yes. All right. Now, okay. Now to answer the question about expansion of space, I imagine the big thing that confuses people when you say that space is expanding, you think, well, what's it expanding into? And then you're thinking about space inside of space, and then it's just like nonsense. So I like to think of it slightly differently. Instead of thinking of like a balloon blowing up and expanding in that way, imagine space is like money, and you have to deal with inflation. Space is basically how much you have to pay to get from one point to another. If I want to go from the Milky Way galaxy to the Andromeda galaxy, I have to pay the price of traveling 2 million light years approximately. And because space is expanding, that means in the future that number of light years is going to increase, that the space between all objects increases. And so, in a sense, the value of your currency is going down over time, and it takes there's more space you have to cover. If you have to think of it in a physical analogy, you'd have to be thinking of a rubber a rubber sheet of infinite extent. There's no boundaries, and you can still imagine it stretching, so the points on the rubber can still stretch apart, and that's what our universe is doing. It's very big, and it's still stretching out, so that way it still has space to go because it's infinite, and the individual spaces between things still increases locally. Does that help at all?
Okay, that I kind of got. It's still the fabric of space, like you said. We don't know what the fuck it is. And that cleared that up a lot, because I was like, am I just dense in not being able to understand this? Or it's something, well, I'm probably a little bit dense. But thank you very much. And I really implore you to go back to Alien Isolation on Nightmare Mode. You get to see a lot of kind of like the behind the scenes things that are happening that you normally wouldn't see on the other lessons, because you're paying so much attention because you're so shit scared.
Well,
yep. Did you get stuck in the medical ward?
Being shit. Oh, well, I have a secret weapon for not being worried about being scared shitless. I'm always scared. I'm like the scared version of Hulk.
I was about to say the same damn thing. A little hint for you is there are things called scripted animations, and you don't have to wait around for them to finish their animation.
We're gonna hack this now. Okay.
I won't spoil anything else for you. Someone revealed that to me when I was watching a playthrough. And it made one section still fucking terrifying, but a lot easier. Not easy, but just easier. I got killed a dozen times in the medical ward and a dozen times in the medical facility. So it's not easy, but it made it easier.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yep, thank you very much, and I won't keep you on any longer.
All right. Thank you, Nathan.
Thanks, Nathan. You have a nice night, and we'll see.
You're welcome.
We'll talk to you later.
All right. We're gonna have to talk to Jimmy. We need to add another show onto the line. We need the line Let's Play.
The line Let's Play. If you bring that up to him, he might do it. I don't know. But so we're done with calls for tonight. Thank you guys so much for the awesome calls. Really appreciate it. We do have super chats to get to, so I will start off with the super chats tonight. And whenever we get them on the screen, we'll start doing it. Yes, and we will be reading super chats of $5 or more tonight. If you would like to interact with us, ask us some quick questions right here before we sign off. Just like the $5 we got from Stomp 10, it says, my mom truly believes that all Europeans are descendants of Esau from the Bible. How would you challenge this? Well, for me, I would ask, like, well, so how would you know that they're descended from Esau? What kind of like biological information can we derive? Like, how can we actually get any kind of biological information about Esau in order to compare modern Europeans to Esau? Well, those would be my questions. I don't know. What about you, Aaron?
I mean, just in general, genetics does not really allow us to go back to just a few ancestors like that. So I mean, like, just like the entirety of genetics and just say, hey, this doesn't work. There aren't races and there aren't like individual ancestors for entire people groups that you can go out and identify. So I don't know what papers I would point to specifically. Maybe Erica, if she were here, she might know where to point. But beyond that, yeah, there's no good evidence for individual ancestors for large people groups. All right. Now we got $5 from Jamnet06. Thanks for the free flow shout out, John. It was cool to meet y'all there. Very pleasant surprise. Hashtag free flow Orlando. Hashtag Central Florida Free Thought Community.
Yeah, it was great meeting you too there, Jamnik. We met a lot of great people down there at Free Flow, as well as the other conferences like BajaCon, NanoCon. It was great. So next is $5 from the Raven 200 that says, like the stream, or Dr. Aaron Adair will have to spend 24 hours in each of all the fictional universes I'm a fan of. All of them.
I'm now imagining the combo Battlestar Galactica My Little Pony universe. I will survive, but I don't know how I'll come out the other end. Speaking of My Little Pony, based on the Avatar, 5 pounds from Mystic Mind Analysis. Question for Aaron. Is space defined as the absence of physical matter beyond the molecular, or is space a substance unto itself? You might refer to it as a substance because the changing of it, the flow of it, will actually affect matter and the measurement of time. So it's not quite correct to call it a substance, but it's more than nothing, since it can stretch, it can warp, it can rotate, and that can have physically measurable effects.
Space is scary, y'all.
$5 from Secular Felinist, for Aaron. What do you think of the hypothesis that our universe lies inside an enormous black hole? Some physicists think it's possible.
So, for those arguments to say that we're in a black hole, I believe they require the holographic principle. And I don't know enough of the research if the holographic principle is the future, if it's a dead end, or if it's just one of 30 different hypotheses that it might be equivalent to, but don't have quite the same thing. It does remind me, there's another physicist we've had here on the line, Dr. Blitz. I think I was watching one of his streams and he was talking about he's working on a paper arguing against the we're inside of a black hole work. So he would be able to answer this question better than I about the plausibility of that.
He was also on Matt Dillahunty's show on December 17th, if anybody wants to go back and watch it.
Yep.
Thank you.
I believe this is
John,
yours.
this is your reading. I read the last one, but I'll read this one, man. I'll read it. $5 from the Atheist Mechanic. These callers keep using the word logically, but I'm not convinced they know what logic even is.
Yeah, I get that feeling with a lot of people. Yeah, that logic seems to escape a lot of people, or at least they don't think about how illogical or incoherent their statements are because they're not engaging in that critical thought process. And so, also, I'll say that religion has a hell of a control on cognitive dissonance and compartmentalization as a way of keeping your religious beliefs while still maintaining your very scientific side. I know I was caught up in that when I was religious. I'd compartmentalize my beliefs in that kind of way, and so I think that breaking through that barrier is kind of one of those important things. $9.99 from Hannah Hodgins 9516, who says, "Thank you for what you do, heart, all of you." Oh, thank you, Hannah. We appreciate that.
$10 from Brent J. Council Treasure. If the matter and antimatter tanks on a Galaxy-class starship are 9/10 depleted, calculate the intermix ratio necessary to reach a starbase 100 light years away at warp factor 8. So, thing is, if we're at this little depletion, we're going to need to increase efficiency. So my first thought is you need to drop this down to warp factor 7, so that way we can actually make the trip. The intermix ratio for this, let's see here, goes cubic root. So approximately 0.74. I'm bullshitting you guys. What the hell do you think I'm doing here?
I'm like, you're bullshitting, right? But
if I may use a little bit more technobabble, it's one of my favorite technobabble lines from Doctor Who. We need to reverse the polarity of the neutron flow.
Next is $5 Narnia from Vic Adams, who says, I enjoy watching your shows regularly. Thank you, Vic. We appreciate that. All the way from Narnia, too. That's awesome.
$5 from Space Barbarian 3484. Can I buy a Magigoria or whatever mug? I think this goes back to our Bosnian caller. Maybe next year we'll have to make that mug.
$9.99 from Hannah Hodgins 9516, who says, hey, when is the next rapture date? Let's have a going away party for all the theists again. Yeah, I wonder when all of that is supposed to come to fruition. It kind of seemed like he was just saying the end is nigh and not really having like a definite date. So I have no fucking clue.
I feel like I don't understand the reason for a lot of them. Like, of course, we had the 2012, the Mayan calendar, rah! Like, but there was another recent one, and I never really understood what the justification for it was.
Oh, the one in 2011 with Campbell, not Campbell, was it? Harold Camping. That's who it was.
There was a super recent one, I thought, like in the last year or two.
Oh,
there was.
Yeah, that one was out of Africa, and I do not understand, other than I guess the guy had a vision, or at least was claiming to have had a vision. I really did not follow that well.
Love how that became a global phenomenon.
This also brings back some memories. So $9.99 from Kelly Shear 4937. Listen to me. Yeah, we got that a few number of times from whatever college tonight.
Are you listening? You listening to me, Aaron? Aaron. $10 from Alashana Silverbow, who says, I have a prophecy from 50 years ago that predicted Trump becoming president, winning, then losing, then winning again. This prophecy hasn't been revealed until now by me, but it's totally real. And the indestructible shit is going to be planted in Washington, D.C. in March of 2027. Just saying.
You know, we had a missed opportunity on that call. Clearly, that guy was talking about the monad, right?
Obviously. This is the monad. That's the indestructible sign that's going to be here in Huntsville.
Just showing off Forrest's mug with the monad.
All right. So, $10 from the Atheist Mechanic. The Virgin Mary said, I can sell you some oceanfront property in Arizona. It was part of the 10 or 11 secrets. Just listen to me. But I know what's going on there. Because this person also has a Lex Luthor plan and is going to be blowing off California, so that way Arizona then becomes oceanfront property once California goes and sinks into the ocean. So, yep, I see exactly where they're going. It's diabolical. It's from the 1970s. It has to work.
Obviously, it was foretold in the scriptures. 10 Canadian dollars from Peer Reform 42 says, wait, listen to me. See the little I don't know how to sing this. See the little goblin, see his little feet, and his little nosy woes. Isn't the goblin sweet? I have no idea if that's how it's supposed to go, but that's how it went.
Not too shabby. I have no clue how to do that better. What I can do is say, we got $10 from Murdercon 9000. Everyone I know that has played Alien Isolation on Nightmare difficulty get so Stockholmed that they end up naming their xenomorph like it was a close friend. Mine was Cletus. What would yours be? Ooh. Giger.
Giger?
Yeah.
I have no idea. I'd probably just call him a fucking asshole. Oh, come here,
Jeffrey.
little fucking asshole. Jeffrey. Yeah. And then every time the fucking alien appears, I would instinctually just go, "My name is Jeff." And like that's how he would appear. Like every time, poop, my name is Jeff. Anyways, $5 from the Raven 200. You'd be a lot of MMA MMime. Dr. Adair, don't
anime?
worry. Anime? It could be anime. You'd be in a lot of anime, Dr. Adair. Don't worry, I'm sure you'll survive until you get to Berserk. Hopefully you avoid the eclipse. Aren't they making a movie or something about Berserk? I think that it's like a Keanu Reeves thing. I don't know.
I don't know anything, so I can't speak to that at all. But I would like the idea that I survive.
All right. That's all of the super
Oh wait, there
chats
was
that we
one more.
got.
Hold
Oh,
on,
yeah,
let me
one
get
more.
it. Let me get it real quick. Sorry, it just came in.
All right. I'll happily read it. All right. Just sliding in $5 from Alice in Dr. Pepper. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Alice and Dr. Pepper. We need an official line-sponsored debate between the monad and converted atheists. I'll bring popcorn. I'm going to need popcorn and some strong drinks.
Yep, I'll get my whiskey for that one. But that's going to be our show for tonight. Thank you so much to Alexander for doing the producing tonight. Thank you so much to Stephanie for doing our call screening. Thanks to all of the chat moderators and everything like that. Y'all are awesome. I can't wait to see everybody in the new year. We do have Chew Gum tomorrow and Hang Up on Wednesday before this year is out, so definitely tune in then. We will see all you heathens later. And don't forget to do the double pump, jump, trunk, dance.